Hello and welcome back to the channel, and good old Jim Ryan, flip-flop Jim Ryan is back again. Right, we have an opportunity to carry on making great PS4 games for as long as it needs, as long as the need is there. So yes, they're going to continue supporting PS4 for indefinitely, it seems. There doesn't seem to be a restriction now. And the PS4 fanbase, or the PS5 fanbase, I should say now, or whatever it is, doesn't seem to be any generations anymore. Seem to be in full support of this, seem to be absolutely flip-flopping and in complete support of this now, all of a sudden. But then they do have a fan base of idiots.
With what? With what? With what? What?
So yeah, Jim said come out and said they're going to continue to support the PS4 for as long as it takes. And this is contrary to all what he said before. This is hence the the flip-flop Jim, as I'm going to start calling him now, flip-flop Jim. Because they've just completely done a 360 on everything they said before. Say 360, I should say 180 really. But I mean, he was preaching this before to us all. So yes, previously they preached exclusivity. Sony on PS5 exclusives. We can't take everyone with us from previous gens. So they was strongly believed in pushing next generation and leaving the old generation behind. And they said such. They was literally going to leave PS4 gamers behind and just move on to the PS5. And the PS fan base were in absolute support of this, and so was the media, and everyone jumped on Xbox's back for not having exclusives for 3 years, because they was doing cross-gen, and flip-flop Jim said Sony believes in generations. CO Jim Ryan further details next generation plans and more. So yes, they was going to leave the PS4 behind. All the games coming out were going to be PS5 exclusives. They hinted at Horizon Zero Dawn, the new game, can't remember what it's called now, and the Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and such other games. And then they completely flip-flopped, and so did their fan base. They switched sides too. They were fully against Xbox having cross-generation games, and then they were fully for cross-generation games when Sony decided to flip-flop on the whole decision and completely copy Xbox. But why end it there? Why? Why not just keep copying Xbox? Sony's Jim Ryan hints at Xbox Game Pass competitors for PS5, so they're going to make their own Game Pass for PS5. And as always, their fan base now, who have hated on Game Pass and subscription services for years, are now on board with this. Of course, they flip-flopped along with Sony. We hate Game Pass, we hate Game Pass, we hate Game Pass. Now we love Game Pass. It's ridiculous. But, you know, they've got a really crazy fan base that will do anything that Sony tells them to do. Pretty much, that is the case.
And you don't think they're going to come out with something that's probably bigger and greater than what y'all got right now? Hell, even if they just literally mimic what Xbox is doing, it'll be greater. What?
And that moron is kind of right. You know why? Because they will mimic Game Pass. They will put a subscription service to compete with Game Pass. You know what they have to do that, though? That means their games will have to be on PC day one. That's right, all your exclusives, just like Game Pass, will go to PC day one. That is the only way they can compete with Game Pass and the revenue it's creating. Revenue, that's another thing. That's all we've heard for years, is that Game Pass makes no money. Subscription services don't work. How do they work? I don't understand it. I'm confused by life. They make no money, even though everyone's following the subscription services route. They make no money. Now Sony's doing it. So if it makes no money and Sony's doing it, is there a light going on anywhere? Perhaps it makes money. And the only way you can make that money is by dropping your games on PC day one along with your console. So what's going to happen to exclusives? Let's rewind back 6 months, shall we? When they don't care for generations. They believe in next gen. They believe in exclusives. You don't need a subscription service. 6 months later, you've completely flip-flopped. Sony's flip-flopped, and their gamers have flip-flopped. It's just weird. It's just weird to see. It's almost like a cult. It's like a weird religious cult, and they're just following suit. They're just doing kind of like what their master's telling them. They preach one thing to their fan base, and their fan base follow it, and then they will take a completely different route, and then their fan base will just follow them regardless and just mimic everything they're saying. It's weird. Even if they contradict themselves, even if they look like hypocrites, even if they look like absolute flip-flops and we've got receipts on all these fools, they still just do it. They have no shame. It's really weird to see. So yes, if they're gonna compete with Game Pass, they're gonna have to put your games on. So let's cover the points here. Firstly, they're gonna support PS4 for longer than Xbox One. So you're gonna get your games are gonna be now cross-gen. That means they're gonna be multi-plat. That's what it means. That's what you've been telling us for years. All your games will be multi-plat because it means they're gonna be on the PS4. So you can lose all your exclusives. That's why they've not announced the God of War and Ragnarok. You notice they didn't say PS5 exclusives. You notice they said nothing because it's going to be on PS4. That is why. And if this goes onto their new Game Pass stream, it's going to be on PC day one, very likely too. But yes, so they're not only going to put their games on PS4, but if they follow Game Pass exactly, as is that moron said, their games are also going to be on PC day one, and they will follow suit. And people on Xbox have been saying this for years. Your games are going to go to PC. Your games are going to be day one multiplats. You kept saying they won't be. No, they won't. Exclusives. Why buy a console? It's odd that it now flipped from consoles to players as well, player base. You're actually even following the Xbox Metacritic. You're pushing console sales. Now you're slowly, as Sony does, because that's the way forward, as I've been preaching in my videos for over a year, the way forward is revenue. This is what the company is interested in, player base and revenue over console sales. And Sony is slowly pushing you into it, slowly easing you in because you've got some sort of special needs. So they're slowly easing you into it like a child, and you're slowly nodding and following suit as they tell you to.
Lucas! Bethesda, Lucas! Bethesda! Bethesda! We're going to get exclusive on Bethesda, and you're not going to get them! What? Really? Pretty sure Bethesda came out and said, no, it's coming to the PlayStation. What? What the fuck?
So to conclude, as Sony continue to copy Xbox and their ways forward, because obviously their approach is far superior to Sony's. This is why Sony are copying them, even though they're market leaders. They seem to be copying the trash console, the console that's making no money. Yet Sony are copying them, which is weird. As things change on the Sony side of Sony, and they make their own, as it says there, they could possibly combine PS Now and PS Plus into a single subscription, as Game Pass has. And the only other way they can make money is by putting their games on PC day one. Because look at all the places that Game Pass is available. All the income you will get, all the revenue they get from all those places. And then they've got EA Access and all that stuff all on board. Game Pass is such an amazing deal, subscription service. Sony has to copy suit. They'll have to follow it. Bethesda, this will only strengthen Bethesda being exclusive to Game Pass if they copy, because now the narrative's slowly changing. First it was the whole generations things and cross-gen, which PlayStation fan base didn't believe in. Now they do. Now they're following that. Then they moved on to exclusives matter exclusives. Then that's slowly dwindling, slowly fading, as now they're okay that games are now on PS5 and PS4. That's okay. There's still exclusives now apparently. But as this develops and the games start going day one on to PC, the exclusives narrative will fade. They will forget about that as if that never existed. That was never a thing. And then soon it will be games, but we've got better games. And this then will only drive Phil to go, okay, Bethesda games, ZeniMax games. By the way, ZeniMax have just opened a new studio. Recently in the news, this week, ZeniMax have opened another new studio where they're creating a new IP for Xbox. A new studio with a new IP for Xbox. So now they've just got a new studio on top of the 25, 26 they already had. They've just got a new studio. So this will only drive Phil then to make ZeniMax games, Bethesda games and such, exclusive to Game Pass. If PlayStation are going to up their game, Xbox will up their game, because they're going to have to compete with the PlayStation's version of Game Pass. The only way they can do that is make games exclusive to their version of Game Pass that are not on the PlayStation's version of Game Pass. That's the only way they'll do it. This will just keep pushing Xbox. And you know, for now they're saying, yeah, but we've got better games, because that's what it's going to come down to. We've got better games. Really, going forward, Xbox will have more first-party games. That is a fact. They got more studios. Some of those studios are producing 2 games at a time. Off the top of my head, Playground Games, for example, are doing Fable and Forza Horizon 5, which has just been confirmed as well, which possibly launch next year, which I'll cover in another video, possibly launch next year. So they're working on 2 games, and some of these studios are working on 2 games. So Xbox are not only going to drop more games, they're going to drop more first-party games, which bring in more revenue. And then they've got all the big titles like Skyrim, Starfield and stuff like that that's about to launch, which will be exclusive to Game Pass, i.e. they will only be available on Xbox consoles, PC, and things like mobile devices via Game Pass. So you can still play them on PC. PlayStation fans seem to hate this thing, but Sony's going to follow suit. I said years ago, exclusives need to end for a business to continue. It kills your business. People are going to know throw at me now, but the Switch. The Switch is an entirely different method. You cannot compare these consoles to the Switch. The Switch is a mobile platform, which is massive in Japan. That's why Switch crushes PlayStation in Japan. Japan is a massive mobile fan base, and that's why the Switch is so successful over there and so successful worldwide with families. You can pick up a Switch, you can take it on your travels, much like a mobile device, but better. You can take it on your travels, and then it works. It works a Switch. Switch tried the standalone console idea, just like PC, just like Xbox and PlayStation, and we got the Wii U, and look where that happened. What happened with that? What they do? They've gone back to their original ideas of making a more, because they know their console devices cannot compete with Xbox and PlayStation. So now they're going down the mobile market route with massive successes like their Game Boys and such like that. They're following that route still, but they're mixing it up. And this is what Sony are doing now. Sony is starting to follow suit and copy Xbox because it's the way forward. It's the best business plan. If you want your company to succeed, exclusives on your console base will not work. The Wii U is proof of that. I'm not sure why you've all forgot about that. And now they're releasing all those Wii U games on the Switch. If you notice, all those Wii U games that are coming onto the Switch, and they're working. They're selling better than they did in the Wii U. So, what's your thoughts down below? What do you think about this whole thing about PlayStation copying? Do you think it's all rubbish? Do you think they're still have exclusives and everything that everyone's saying, even Jim, is all nonsense, rubbish? Is console sales still relevant? I've never said they're relevant at all. But do you still think they're relevant? Going forward now, a lot of the people that have preached console sales, will they be relevant in the future? They're not. It's an old metric. Don't follow console sales. Player base, subscription services and revenue far exceeds console sales, which are all sold at a loss, especially now as not many consoles are getting out there in the market because of scalpers and because of the coronavirus is limiting sales of consoles. So now, what is your opinion? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please subscribe and share, and hopefully see you all soon.